Hello, my beautiful Awaken Wanderers. This is hopefully a short video that I wanted to make talking about the band videos that I have in my channel and kind of explain a little bit my process through the past years and even reveal a little bit more about who I am and what my interests are. So to get out of the way, these videos were about COVID and the pandemic, which, me being inquisitive as I am, I was getting into the news and what the media was portraying in general. And then I was getting information that actually made a lot of sense to me. And me being me at the time, just with a new channel, I decided I need to voice my opinions on this, because that's another thing that I do. Whenever possible, I voice my opinions, which actually has changed due to my, I wouldn't even call it evolution, but just my process in general. And I'll get to that. But this videos were me exposing some of the things that were not being told in the official narrative, and it just bothered me so much. So I needed to do it, and I did it. I followed my my desire to want to communicate these things, and I did. Now, I'm actually surprised that, well, my channel is not very popular, so that's why it wasn't targeted right away, because the censorship has been on for a while, and I think we kind of got used to that. Probably a year or more, I would have been enraged by this because, freedom of speech and everything else. So right now, I don't really care. It's not that I don't care in the sense that I ignore it, but it's just that I have grown to accept this new status quo because it's not my will. It's not something that I desire for it to happen. I am comfortable with the planet being as it is. And there's right now ongoing the situation in Ukraine and all of that. And even there, I think this is a catalyst for me to see that I no longer care the way I used to. That I used to get into the rabbit hole and find out what was going on and try to inform people about this. I think that was my thing. That is no longer there. I don't really care anymore to inform people of things that are impermanent, that are sort of transient, as Ra calls them. And these are one of the things that started changing. So these videos were about that. All the information that still is sort of, and this, it has fallen into the category of conspiracy theories, because that's really what it is. And I mean, conspiracy theories are just things that everybody can discover, because there seems to be a conspiracy when government officials and the elite in general lies to us. They're covering their steps, and they're covering all their corruption, which used to enrage me in the past, but now I just accept that as part of the planet. It's just something that needs to happen. And I know some people may think that this is a way of ignoring the situation and not doing anything about it. But speaking from the perspective of myself being someone who was really into this, I mean, before I had my spiritual awakening, for the past 14 years or so, I kind of realized that there was something going on behind the scenes, and I started getting into all sorts of rabbit holes, 9/11, and I mean, there's so much. I don't want to mention all of this stuff, but I used to get into all of this stuff. I used to have a huge interest in conspiracy theories because to me, it was discovering the truth. That was my limited perception back then, that we as separate human beings needed to get together to sort of find the truth of this physical world and expose it. But as I discover more in my spiritual awakening and my process, like I said, I realized that all of this is just the same repetitive thing. It took me less than a year to realize that, and I think I still have that video, which was my last one in that series that I was making about revealing the illusion, I used to call it. And it was, about the elections and how all that hype was cooking. And suddenly, everybody was just left again to suck their own thumbs and wait to see what else happens. So the more we seem to invest into all of this, the more we are distracted, is the thing. So I'm not going to say that I'm not interested in the truth. So what I have learned actually is that everybody is in their process. And when I find information, because I inform myself for myself and my family and those who ask me for advice, and even there I'm sort of careful and I always tell them, listen, I'm not trying to avoid the question, but follow your heart. If you feel that you have to do or don't have to do, then, that's why do you need my validation? That's a better question. Why do you feel that you need my validation? But I do maintain a little bit of information in terms of what's going on for me to make decisions. And I think that's what it got reduced to. At least that's my experience. I know a lot of people are still in the rabbit hole, and it'll continue. It's like a black hole that continues to attract people into these topics. I fully understand all of them because I come from there, but I no longer care. So I think that's what I've learned so far, that everybody's in their own path, everybody's in their own development, and their process needs to be respected. So I no longer care to try to inform other people about my own opinions of what I think it's true. Because if anything, I have realized that there's nothing true and everything's true. Meaning that there's nothing external that is true except your own understanding of true. And even that changes. You have to admit that that is quite as well impermanent. It's not something stable. Your truth is always changing. So to have your opinions or something and try to convince other people for something that's going to change in yourself, I don't know. It seems silly to me at this point. But that was just the nature of how I was raised. It's not like I'm blaming it on science or anything, but I was completely science oriented. So for me, the world was made of parts, which needed to arrange in a more efficient way. Whereas now I understand that everything is a complete balance all the time. And all we need to do is try to provide our service in the way that is best needed for others if it is requested. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I got from this, is that I no longer care to, like I said, try to inform other people about what I believe is the truth. And at least that's how I took the catalyst of the pandemic and everything else around it, because I realized that there's a lot of people that I love and I care for that believed in everything that the media was saying. Other people were completely disoriented and they were feasting on conspiracy theories and so on. And I realized that everybody was, no matter what you said, they were going to have their own opinions. So the best way I actually could help them was to be silent and don't talk about it unless I was asked a specific question, and even there just to answer briefly and maybe say what I think, about it, but just always with the caveat that this is just me and I'm making my decisions and that's it. So, I mean, for me, it has been an awesome lesson to me, and to see that I used to be so fervent about talking of these conspiracies and all the things that is happening, which by now, thanks to my philosophy, I understand that this is just a negative philosophy at play. Even getting there, trying to take parts or create a bias onto what you think it is true, then you're finding yourself polarized in that degree. So I realized that was a game I didn't want to play anymore. And like I said, I still have my strong opinions. I hold them loosely. But most importantly, I don't care to share them unless sometimes even in the raw material I would say a couple of things that it's my opinion, but I always highlight it and say, well, this is just how I think. I think the elite is here to continue to serve us indirectly with catalysts for us to see how we can serve others. And, like in my case, it's just to shed some light onto the reasons why I needed to share this so much and why it caused so much indignation in me, that it bothered me so much. And I learned so much more about myself than anybody else. So I can't help but think of my friend Will Christie, who always has some interesting remarks to make in the comments. So I know you're attracted to this kind of stuff. I can't wait to hear or read your comments if you're around. We'll see. I'll pin you to the top if you do comment on this one, because I know you're interested in this stuff. And yeah, I mean, all I want to say is that these videos, I never took them down, because even though I had changed, I said, why take them down? They're there. They're part of my past and my process. Some people may ask me questions about that, and that'll be fine. But since they were removed from my channel, then I wanted to make this video just to say that, well, those videos are no longer there. And I think there's a couple that you might see my old energy in my process, talking about this stuff, and that'll just be there. But the other ones are censored, because that's the way things are going. It doesn't bother me. Like I said, this would have enraged me in the past, but this doesn't bother me anymore. I'm actually glad, things turn out this way, because I learned from this removal of my content. I can see how much I have changed in the way of stop caring so much, stop taking the world so serious. And I think that's the biggest lesson. So that's all I got. I wanted to keep it short. 12 minutes, it's long enough. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for following me on this path. And hey, if you're getting anything out of value of this, leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe, the whole thing. I appreciate you always for listening. So that's it. Over and out.